Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the CURFEWBOYS podcast. Myself, Sammy, with Mr. Korea himself, Joey Palmieri.
Hey
how are you, buddy? Hey
Good,
now.
how are you?
How you doing, bud? Good.
Saturday morning.
It's
So
Saturday morning.
Yeah, 8:30 in the morning. Just finished
So
breakfast.
the funny thing you should mention is that we're recording this on a Friday night, releasing this on Saturday, March 22nd. But yet, you're right. It absolutely is a Saturday morning for all of us. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. I know we are. Before we get started, just let everybody know that this episode of the CURFEWBOYS is sponsored by Les Délices Lafrenière. Some of the best pastries, cakes, cannolis you can think of during the month of March. I know the famous San Giuseppe holiday for the Italian community out there just happened about 2-3 days ago. But the month of March, the best time to get the famous Zeppelis. Go to Les Délices Lafrenière. They have the best Zeppelis in town. You could go to any of their 6 locations in Brossard, Rosemere, Saint Julie, Montreal West, Pointe Claire, and what is now no longer Joey's hometown of Saint Leonard.
That's right. Not anymore.
Go visit lesdeliceslafrenette.com. They are simply delicious, sont simplement délicieux. And last but not least, sponsored by Habs Cave, the best Montreal Canadiens memorabilia content you can think of. It's every Habs fan's dream to have a man cave like the Habs Cave. Go visit Habs Cave on Instagram and give a shout out to our boy Sunil. He's got the best content out there when it comes to Montreal Canadiens memorabilia. You will not be disappointed. Joey, I have to ask you something.
Yes.
Since you made the big step in your life and you've now moved to South Korea, what is the very, very first meal you've ever cooked, like now in your new home?
Well, I still cook when I was back in my old home. Nothing
I,
changed.
I know, but I want to know. No, I'm not asking if you're still. I want to know what's the first meal you cooked in.
That I cooked.
Yeah,
Probably chicken
like
breast, right? You know me. Chicken
sure.
breast with vegetables and rice, or vegetable like broccoli and
You
sweet
didn't.
potatoes.
No spaghetti bolognese with meatballs. No, you didn't.
No,
Are
not
those
here.
you're telling me those days are over? The Italian man in Korea, you're telling me there's no more spaghetti bolognese and meatballs going on in
Those
Korea?
there's there was never there was never a, how do I say it, like a like a common time I would cook that regardless. I don't really cook Italian back home, to be quite honest. I only eat it
What?
out. But here it's not known for, right? Here you're gonna go for meat, barbecue all the time. So that's what
Yeah,
I've been doing mostly. Pork
dude.
belly,
I
pork
re-
neck.
I remember. I think in Toronto had the very famous Korean barbecue style restaurant I went to, and like educate me a little bit, but like it's the restaurants where the barbecue grill is right in the middle, and they
Yeah,
bring you all the
all
seasoned
the meat. Yeah, all the
meat,
little
the
sizes.
beef,
Yeah,
chicken, pork, and oh my god,
yeah,
was
yeah.
it ever delicious?
The difference
Good.
here is a lot of places will cook it for you, and it's like
Okay,
half the price. I went to a
I
pretty
can imagine.
higher end one, and I spent Canadian dollars. I spent maybe $25, and I had like everything. $25, no tax,
Jesus.
no taxes already included, and no tip, none of that stuff. $25, which in Montreal you'd spend about 60. Just it's this is we're not sponsored by them, but in Montreal there's a famous one called Dalgongye. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Okay.
It's downtown, and it's
Okay.
pretty famous for a Korean barbecue. But you're gonna spend, if you want a good time, you're gonna spend $50 plus.
I don't want to open up that political can of worms, Joy, but it must be nice to not have to spend an arm and a leg for groceries, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Groceries, although I will say, are pretty comparable. It's just the tax part, and restaurants,
Right.
it's restaurants is almost as cheap as ordering groceries because again, tax is lower and there's no tip.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe I got to make my way to
Yeah.
Korea. I'll probably
You gotta
save a
come.
buck or two.
But I appreciate you asking.
Uh,
I don't know. I like to let people know that for those that
well,
don't.
dude, I none of this is scripted. Like I really thought today, I was like, where I was venturing today, I'm there. I'm like, what? I wonder what's the first meal he ever like cooked himself in his new home and his new environment. And
Same,
I
same thing.
was
You could
like,
ask me more what's the first meal I ate. Maybe that's
I
like
was
different.
I was wondering if like if you've cooked like maybe like maybe some Korean style dish, or did you kept it
Oh,
simple like chicken?
bok choy. I ate a lot more kimchi, which is Korean style, which I
Okay.
never ate back home. So that's a little more Korean-ish style, I would
Yeah,
say.
gotcha. You still got to do the spaghetti bolognese. Like, come on,
I'll go out to
come on.
eat
You
it.
got
I'm gonna go to an Italian restaurant actually next week, so I'm gonna go out to eat it.
okay. Interesting. Look forward to see that. All right, Joe. Let's get let's talk business here. Our Montreal Canadiens are in a wild card spot after beating the Ottawa Senators, and then after facing the New York Islanders on Thursday. Guess what? They're still
They're
in a wild
still,
card spot.
that's right. They hold their
So,
own destiny.
and it's crazy how they're getting a bit of help from other teams. And I will remind listeners and audience members that Friday night, there's only one game that we're going to be paying attention to, and that's the Pittsburgh versus Columbus game. And right now, as we speak, as we're recording this right now on a Friday night, Columbus is losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins by a score of 3-1. There's about a minute and a half left in the first period. So that is very, very, very good news for Montreal Canadiens fans as far as recording this episode is concerned, and we'll get to the final score by the time we're done recording this. But I mean, look, after the performance the Canadians had against Ottawa, they came out guns blazing, and it's Ottawa, Montreal that are trying to fight for that for those final two wildcard spots. And since the Islanders are not exactly the best team in the East, but this team still freaking somehow manages to have our number. I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't understand how the New York Islanders, like this boring ass team, but they still have good players. Like, no disrespect to them, but like they still find a way to have our freaking number. And
especially in New York, I
yeah,
found.
there's just something about playing in New York against the Islanders that, like, for some reason we can't always come on top and win this game.
Hmm.
And you look at the stats yesterday. I mean, the Canadians did everything right except for maybe the power play. I'm looking at the stats here: 41 shots, 54.9% at the faceoff. They out 21 hits versus 19, 28 block shots. Only the Islanders had more giveaways. Like it's the only thing that sucked is that I think where the Islanders beat us was on the power play.
Yeah,
And
and we still scored a
you know,
goal on
and
it,
yeah,
right?
oh my god, it was a controversial one, but
But
we
we
still
scored,
got
yeah.
it thanks to Patrick Laine. And I mean, the Islanders are like the worst power play in the league and the worst penalty kill in the league, and they seem to have hurt us at those two aspects of the game last night on Thursday night. So you know what? I thought the boys played well. I really did. I actually thought they played decently well. It wasn't Sam Montembeau's best game, in my personal opinion.
No, I agree. It wasn't his best game, but I thought overall Montreal still played better in New York. And to be honest, every time I see New York, I no disrespect them. I don't know what their business is in being in a wild card spot. I really,
It's crazy.
I don't, I don't know. They don't have a good power play or a good penalty kill this year. They numbers wise, they don't look the greatest, but they somehow seem to manage to get wins at important times. I mean, I'm not following them every game, but if you look at their overall play and how they've been playing, it's crazy to see them
Hmm.
in a wild card spot. But they do have Montreal's number. But I will say positively that if this was Montreal last year, the game was over. They wouldn't have come back. There was
Yeah.
the
Very
overturned
good point.
goal on the 2-1 for Suzuki. Yeah, now it's Montreal fought back. Uh, Great comeback. Thankfully, got that goal by Gallagher to tie the game. Although they lost
Mm-hmm.
in overtime, they still got that important point, which sure Islanders got a point closer, but as you said, everybody that night lost. Well, Columbus got a point too, but at least they didn't gain any ground on Montreal. So Montreal
Exactly.
actually came out positive. That point was somewhat huge. And a team like
Mm-hmm.
Columbus, I mentioned them last, just specifically because I want to know they're on a downhill trend.
They
I
really are.
don't know. I don't know if I'm worried about them as much. I'd be more worried about how the Islanders are pulling out these wins, or New York that has a
Mhm.
talented team, although we have games in hand. But
Yeah.
overall, I still think it was a successful evening, and I thought Montreal, like you said, 41 shots. They certainly outplayed the Islanders, just couldn't outscore them.
Yep. And you know what? For some reason, you know what I mean? I love, and we all love seeing this team fight back and come back after being down by a goal or two. But again, it's one of those things where it's like you can't fall into that habit. They did that against the Ottawa Senators, and like once the floodgates were open, they never looked back, and then they ended up like pretty much destroying them. Even if it was two empty net goals, doesn't matter. They actually woke the hell up in the third period and took the game over. I felt like this one was a bit of I don't know if it was Sorkin that was in their head or something. Like he wasn't making crazy saves, but he was making the saves. Like in the third period, that top line was buzzing, but just you know what I mean. When you're missing a net, you're missing shot. You're getting opportunities, but you're missing your shots. You're missing the net. I wonder if that kind of played with their psyche a little bit. Then there was the big controversy, or at least the first one was that whole Nick Suzuki goal. In my eyes, it was offside by a hairline,
It was.
but it was
I
offside.
think so.
It was
Yeah, I
offside.
agree.
And the way I look at it is that if, let's say, the Islanders would have scored a goal like that, coach's challenge, and they would have came back and said, no, it's a good goal, I know I would have been fucking livid. I would have been
Me
livid
too.
because I thought it was offside. So I look at things that way that if it's a goal that I think should be overturned for the opposition team, then it should be the same thing for our team. At least that's the way I look at things. But the Patrick Laine goal on the power play, when I saw that and we kept seeing the replays, I'm like, there's no way Uri Slavkovsky has any sort of goaltender interference there. Yeah, he crashes into the net, but he gets out of the way as fast as he can, and he's standing outside the paint, and Sorokin goes into him and bumps him and tries to
That's
sell
right.
it. It didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work, but they made the right call on both Suzuki and Liney's
So
non-goal at goal, I think, for sure.
totally agree. And
But that
dude,
plays with their
Patrick,
psyche, Sam. Even though it was
I
a
think so.
rightfully disallowed goal, Suzuki being up 2-1, at that point of the game, it could have changed the way the game is. Maybe Montreal gets a third
Hmm.
at that point. Whether the goal
Hmm.
was actually a goal or not, if they actually did score it, that was legally, not being offside, it could have changed their psyche and they could have went on to win the game. Those things matter.
1,000%. It's crazy how that changes. Just that aspect of a game changes everything. I gotta get into a bit of the Sam Montembeau subject, and I'm not gonna heavily criticize him because listen, Anthony and I on a few episodes ago, we said how like since the break he's come back and like he's actually playing like not a legit number one goaltender, but man, he's doing his part to help this team win. And he's one of the reasons why this team is in the wild card spot that they're in right now. I don't know if we cursed him or something, or if we jinxed him, or if we put the evil eye, the malocchio on him or something. I don't know what we did, but like yeah, his game against Ottawa wasn't the greatest, but he was able to bounce back. The boys in front of him bounced back even more. I really thought Thursday night against the Islanders, he let in at least one Swiss cheese goal that I truly think the Bo Horvat goal that he
Cool.
outmuscled
Yeah.
Matheson on the outside on the left side and went in. You know, the Holmstrom goal, that one-timer shot, it was a very good shot. That's okay. Like, not a lot of goaltenders could stop a shot like that. The first one by Anthony Duclair, yeah, Duclair was left alone and all that, but it's still, when it's one of those goals that like squeezes by you, it's like
It's tough pill to
there's something.
swallow at
It is.
times
It
as
is
a
a
fan.
tough. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It is a bit of a tough pill to swallow because, like, almost 9 times out of 10, that puck is being stopped. The Bo Horvat goal, his first one, 9 times out of 10, like, that's being stopped. You know, the overtime goal, it was a nice shot. It's Bo Horvat. You know, he's an excellent player. But you know, what I mean, I'm starting to wonder if Montembeault is getting a bit mentally exhausted. I'm questioning that a little bit now.
It could be. Out of all this, what gives me the you said Maluk, yeah, I was gonna say the agita that gives me the that sort of feeling is Anthony to me is putting the Maluk on the Canadians every time he speaks. So he needs to stop. He needs to
Anthony, I
absolutely
hope you
stop
hear this.
or say the opposite. I mean, it's crazy. But on Montembeault, I don't think you could be your best every game as a goaltender unless you're the Carey Price level, which even at that
Right.
point he had his off nights. He could be mentally exhausted, and we spoke about giving Dobish the start against Colorado on Sunday for sure.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
he's done
We're gonna
well.
get into that.
Yeah, I think he's done well overall. Especially, I'm not the biggest Montembeault fan. He's really helped done his part. So the fact that they were able to pick up 3 points, from two not so great games is really a good sign that this is a team growing. But
Yep.
Montembeault, he can't be excellent every game. How many games have we played since the break? It's been quite a few. It's hard
Oh
to
my
be on your
God.
game every
Yeah.
single, every s-
Yeah.
every
No,
single
for
day.
sure.
So for this one, he should certainly get a pass. But give him the rest Sunday. But he needs to then step up for the final stretch because this playoff race, excuse me, is as tight as ever.
It's insane. Okay, so you think Dobes should start Saturday night versus the Colorado Avalanche,
That's right. I
and they're
said Sunday.
freaking
Sorry,
and
it's Sunday my time. Saturday night. You're right.
right, right, right,
I
right, right, right,
apologize.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay, because I really believe Jakub Dobes. You know what? It's not so much that Jakub Dobes should get the start. I think it's more Sam Montembeault should get the rest.
All right. And he's
Which,
already beaten Colorado, right?
but that's another thing too. It's just that, like, you look at Colorado now, maybe compared to 2 months ago, man, this team is on a freaking tear. McKinnon,
Yeah, they are.
Makar, and you know what? They brought in Brock Nelson and Marty Nietzsche. I think it's crazy since and Mikko Rantanen was a massive player for Colorado, but ever since they made that trade, like Marty Nietzsche, him too, he's just bringing
Yeah,
a
he's been
whole
tearing it up.
new he's bringing a whole new dynamic style to this team. And I think, man, I had
He's nearly
Dallas
a point
as
per
one.
game in Colorado right
Nietzsche,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, he's on fire right now. McKinnon is McKinnon. You know, he's gonna win. You know, he's gonna win the Art Ross. I think he's gonna win the. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the MVP. You know, I thought MVP was gonna go to Connor Hellebuck, but I'm starting to think maybe it goes to Nathan McKinnon. Um, like, they're tearing it up. They're tearing it up, and this team scares me. But I know Jakub Dobes beat them once. I think he could do it again. But
Yeah.
my goodness, on Saturday night, the Canadians are gonna have to play. I know they do the man on man. They play the man on man in their defensive zone, but Jesus Christ, they're gonna have to try to perfect it because this Colorado team is something else. They destroyed Ottawa Thursday night.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like 4-0 or 5-0 in the
No,
first period.
5-0. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
there you go.
it was a complete massacre. It helped Montreal because
Big
I
time.
still believe Montreal can actually catch Ottawa given that they beat them. There's only 3 point
Yeah.
difference. But
Yeah.
coming against
Yeah.
Colorado, Montreal has to do their part right and not look like what Ottawa did against Colorado. Certainly,
No.
they have to show up.
No, 1,000%. And you know what? I can't express enough how good Lane Hudson is. He's
Oh,
just like
amazing.
give the kid the Calder Trophy already. But you know what? I think what happened with him in overtime, and I'm not blaming the loss on him, but I think in some sense, I think it was good. It's going to be good for him to experience having to pick his moments in overtime to see if he could beat a guy or two in the defensive zone, and especially when you're almost over a minute in your shift in overtime. So you know what, like I don't blame the kid for wanting to try and win it for his team, but listen, he's still a rookie. He's gonna learn the mistakes, and he's gonna learn to pick his moments. When's the time to strike, when's the time to set back, and maybe regroup and re-strategize on the fly. So no, at the end of the day, I know there was a bit of a not the blame game was being tossed around, like who should be blamed for the loss in overtime. I mean, it's obviously a Lane Hudson turnover, but again, that's with Lane Hudson as a rookie, you're gonna take the good with the good and the bad with the bad. Some could say
Exactly.
maybe Patrick Liney didn't read the play quick enough to realize, shit, this puck is turned over. I should probably stay back a little bit in case of a counterattack, which ended up happening. And again, there's no blame game. I'm not putting any blame on Hudson. Not putting any blame on Liney. And freaking poor Suzuki, he's stuck playing defenseman on a 2-on-1. And look, Bo Horvat is a very good player. Some might say like we wish we could have him as our second line center. Maybe not the contract that he has at the age that he is currently, but it's one of those games where I think they deserve the better fate. And how many times could we say, not just this season or last season, but during the heydays of Carey Price in his prime, how many times could we say, holy shit, like the other team deserved to win because they outshot us like crazy, but it was the goalie and it was the Carey Price that saved our asses. Like, what I mean?
Exactly.
We've been on the other end of that so many times.
More times than what we were against the Islanders, in my opinion. I'm glad you brought that up. Whether it was playoffs, regular season, how many times, even go back to the Halak days, how many times from
Mm-hmm.
Halak or Price
Yep.
that we were
Yep.
basically what the Islanders were yesterday in playoffs, regular season. So we should not be criticizing when it's the opposite. But overall, we all wanted Montreal to be more like how they played against the Islanders, even if they lost this time, because the law of average and the probabilities are if you keep
Yep.
playing like that every game, you're going to win more games, you're going to compete for, the playoffs, you're going to compete for the Stanley Cup, etc. So they have to keep doing that, and then the results will certainly come.
Your thoughts on Alex Newhook being a second line center for this team?
Right now
I'm really.
or overall?
Uh, we could talk a bit about both. Like I love the effort that we're seeing from Alex Newhook. Poor guy can't buy a shot. He can't buy a goal. Like he's reminding me a bit of like the prime Arturi Lehkonen days
Yeah,
when all that the effort was there, the hustle, the grind, the speed, everything was there. Just guy couldn't shoot it on net, and when he did, like it was an easy save for the goalie. Thomas Plekanec style shot right at the chest type of deal. But I love what I'm seeing from Alex Newhook as the games go by. But again, I'm still questioning and wondering if I don't
he's
know,
not
man.
the long-term solution, second line center. We got to look for one. I don't even think Doc's the answer, to be quite honest. We got to really look for one in the off season, or I mean, if they want to gamble on him, their only other, not only, but their prospect that obviously is not ready, but future is H. But to me,
Wow.
it's a
Uh,
it's a spot that's to me that's unfilled right now going forward.
yeah, but Michael Hage, like, are we gonna wait 2 years, 3 years?
No, probably not. I'm just saying what you have right now,
Mm.
he's the next in line to take over that spot. We're
Mm.
definitely not going to wait. I think Hughes in the off season, I mean, not to get into that whole talk, I think Newhook can do the job now, but in the off season, he's got to find a second line center. And there's some big names out there, like we keep talking about, to fill out for top line potentials. I know Ratnan ended up signing that long-term contract, but maybe he
Yeah.
tries to make a big splash in the off season as well, or he comes up creatively to get maybe a maybe a center in a trade. It's really the spot to me that it's a hole right now for Montreal.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it's too bad that even though we think Kirby Doc is probably not that number 2 centerman, I still think he's a top 6 player. He's definitely a second liner on this team, but this is really now is becoming like the dog days of the season where you got to give everything you got to make playoffs. And despite the fact that they are where they're not supposed to be, considering what the goal was at the beginning of the season, these are still the dog days that, like, Kent Hughes and even Marty, they're gonna have to evaluate like what could we do to improve this team like that when we do reach the dog days like it is now for next season. Well, we can win games and really make sure we secure our wild card spot a lot sooner than having to kind of like fight the way they're doing it right now, which is, and again, as far as the rebuild and progression is concerned, like, this is fantastic to me. As far as I'm concerned, Joey, this season we got how many games left? We got 14 games
14.
left, I believe.
Yeah.
So 14 games remaining. They're in a wild card spot, the final one. The goal of the season, the goal at the beginning of the season was we want to be in the mix. Not only are they in the mix, they're holding a wild card spot for now. 14 games left in the season. Sammy, can officially say this season is a successful one. It's mission accomplished. I can
Yeah.
confidently say that as a Habs fan. Mission accomplished for the Montreal Canadiens season. Whether they make it or they don't make it, for me, it's mission accomplished because this was not. I did not expect this. I never expected them to actually be holding a wild card spot at all.
With
Maybe
14 games to go.
with exactly, especially with 14 games left to go. So I call this season a successful one. I call it mission accomplished. Listen, I I'm the first one to say I want Montreal Canadiens playoff. I want Montreal Canadiens playoff hockey in this city. Okay? And we need Joey to bring Montreal Canadiens playoff in Korea. Okay? Like, that's
They're
what
all
we
going
need.
crazy, Sam. The locals are
That's what
all
this
yeah, they're all going crazy for
listen,
Montreal in the playoffs.
listen. We put out a tweet that life is better in the hockey world when the Montreal Canadiens are in the playoff spot. And it's the
Agreed.
damn truth. It's the truth. I want them to get it so badly. But I'm also preparing myself mentally and hopefully emotionally. We'll see if they don't make it, if they slide out just because it's the last grinding games are a bit too much for them. As disappointing as it will be, I will not be upset. I don't think I'll be sad. I say that now. Who knows what could happen in 14 games later. I'm already proud of this team now, and I know I'll have the same pride and feeling proud for this team once the season is over.
You know those how do I those joyful kind of they're tears, but it's like a pleasure pain. I don't know how to describe it, but that would essentially be
Jesus
how I would
Christ. Pleasure,
feel.
pain. How about neck?
I don't know how to explain it, Sam. It's like it's pleasure and it's enjoyable, and I hate to say this, but I agree with you. I'd love to argue against you, but I consider it successful as well. Like I would say the pleasure, the enjoyment of watching the season, but the pain of just missing out would kind of just in my stomach would just it would just hurt a little.
Mm,
But I'm
yeah.
glad they're certainly in the mix. Will they get it? We don't know. Depends the games. We're looking at their schedule, and it's probably a good time to talk about it. There's 14 games left.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
an even split of 7 at home, 7 away. They obviously have a better
Wow.
record at home. but they have
Home.
about a
Yep.
near 500 away record. And
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that would concern me is the teams they're playing are tougher rather than easier. You got the
Yeah.
Panthers back to back. You got Carolina
Yeah.
twice. You got Toronto, but Toronto might have already clinched their spot because it's the third last game, so they might be resting guys. You never know. You got Ottawa
Mm-hmm.
for sure. That's going to be a tough game. You got Bruins, which might be a little easier. You got the Flyers, which maybe they'll phase out eventually. You got the Blackhawks, which is an
Yeah.
absolute must to win. So there's
Yeah.
some really tough ones, but of course there are a few easy ones, and it also depends the other teams. The other teams to me are not
Yeah.
on some sort of tear, so it looks pretty good, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I see a game like the game against Ottawa on April 11th. That's gonna be a big one. I could see the game April 8th, the game before that against Detroit. Montreal Canadiens at home versus the Detroit Red Wings. I could see that being a big one too. Because if it comes down to the wire between those two teams, I could see that one being a massive game. Yeah, a game against Nashville, you would think, you know what? Out of these 14 games remaining, okay, because then like after this Colorado game, they go into St. Louis. Them two, they're fighting to keep their wild card spot. They're in the same boat as the Canadiens. They're holding that final wild card spot in the West. So that's St. Louis could be a tough game. Philly, I think they could take it. Carolina, that's going to be a tough one. Florida could be a tough one. It depends. Florida too. If they have no Matthew Tkachuk, no obviously no Aaron Ekblad. If Brad Marchand's still out of the lineup, maybe the Canadians sometimes they're hit or miss in Florida.
Yeah.
Let's then back to back when they
But
come home against Florida. If they come home against the Bruins, they could beat Philly at home as well. They could beat Nashville in Nashville. The game against Detroit, that's gonna be a big one. Ottawa and Toronto back to back. And then the last final two home games, Chicago, I think they could take that one. They should. And then that one against Carolina, well, it depends where they are in the standings. The Canadians, as far as I'm talking about, yeah, I think it's doable. I think these next 14 games, man, like I think somebody said somewhere they need, if they really, really want a very good chance out of 14 games, they got to win maybe 9 or 10 out of these games. Let's see,
yeah,
1, 2, 3,
I would say
4.
at least 9 or 10. But Sam, the
Oof,
last
oh,
five,
be tight.
they need to get at least 8 to 9 points out of 10 because
Yeah, yeah.
to me, Detroit, you're at home, you got to win that. Ottawa, I think, in the same boat. To me, Toronto, the third last game, they're not going to be playing as hard. They're going to be already
Mm-hmm.
clinched, likely to be first or second, but I don't know how much that will matter to them. Chicago's an absolute must win, and I think
Yeah. My God.
this Carolina's position in the standings will be set as the second place team because I don't think they're going
Mm-hmm.
to catch Washington, and I don't think they're going to be caught by the Devils. So their
No.
position's going to
Uh,
be already set. Montreal, if
yeah.
they're still in a spot, they're playing at home against Carolina. To me, that must be an absolute win. So them, Toronto, for sure, absolutely. To me, the one game that I don't like that's I consider a trap game. So Florida losing to them, they're a better team, not a trap game. To me, the trap
Mm-hmm.
game to me is
Yeah.
is Nashville. Going out west to
Yeah.
play them, to play a team that is, that's not going to make the playoffs, that is doing bad this season. Going to
Yeah.
play them out west in Nashville, that to me is a trap game. If they can overcome that game, then I can see a good chance. If they don't, well, it might hurt them a little. But that to me is the game that really stood out as the game that I'd be very careful. We can't go in, that is going to be an easy game because they're playing away. So it's out west. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be tough.
Joe, can you imagine it comes down to the final two games a bit of the same way it came down to? Do you remember last season, Detroit, when the Canadiens played
Yeah.
Detroit back to back? And those two final games against Detroit, it like they had to win those games and kind of hope for other teams. I forgot which other team was supposed to help them out and ended up screwing them over. But if this happens to the Montreal Canadiens and their fan base, oh my God, like I don't know
Well, they
how my
control their
heart's going
own
to be able
fate,
to handle
right?
it.
They control their own
Yeah,
fate. So right now, it's in their hands. If they go in the final two games knowing that they just have to win, not worry about other teams, that's the best you can ask for. And they'd have to win. They're both games are at home. It's Chicago, and to me,
yeah,
Carolina.
dude.
It shouldn't even be if it comes down to it. It shouldn't be a game because they're gonna finish
Yeah,
second in the Metropolitan Division. So
yeah.
they're gonna have nothing to play for Carolina on the last day of the season.
Yeah, no, you bring up a very good point, and yeah, even me, unfortunately, I have to agree with you. So, oh no, it's fun times, man. It's exciting, and again, like we keep repeating this, but this is definitely the progression that Kent Hughes, Jeff Gordon, and even Marty wanted from this team since day one of this rebuild. So again, I'll reiterate, like it's a successful season. Yeah, the 14 games, like even I'm going to be looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what comes out of it, and hopefully it's a good result. So
Look at
um
it this way, Sam, before
yeah,
before we
yeah,
continue. This point last season, like, and all the fans were listening, we were talking about who are we picking in the
hmm,
upcoming draft. We're
yeah,
not even mentioning the draft right
not
now
even
because
close.
exactly, because we're actually talking about the season that is still being played. So it's been certainly refreshing for people to hear us talk about playoffs and Montreal in the same sentence.
Absolutely, fantastic point. Well, speaking of who we picked from the draft last year, I don't understand what the hell is going on with managing the games for Ivan Demidov back in the KHL. I don't get it. I don't understand what the strategy is behind it. If it's, I'm sure those that are listening and watching, they're going to say, well, it's because they want Ivan Demidov to resign. They don't want to let him go, blah, 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 blah. But like how do you healthy scratch your one of your best players who's a rookie, who's got the most points on your team? You scratch him for the final two games of the season, then you go out and say, yeah, you know what? Well, he's got to train and he's got to be in the gym and grow some muscle because he's not strong enough for these types of games and the opponents that we're going to play against in the playoffs. Like, bro, what are you
It's
what are you doing? What are you talking about? What the
Oh,
hell is
your East
going
End
on?
accent really came out there.
Well, it comes out when I'm angry, but what the hell is Roddenberg
Politics.
talking about?
Politics. It's all
Ah,
politics. Because he's coming here, he's not staying in the KHL. It's really all politics. It'd be nice to
oh
see him
my
in the
god.
playoffs, but you know what? It's not the worst thing in the world. You know he's going to prevent injury. You look at it that
Okay.
way. So he's not going
Yeah.
to be injured. He's going to come in pretty fresh. Hopefully,
Yeah.
he can work on just seriously himself at the gym. No joke. So
Just
I
just
mean,
just stay in
I want
there.
to see him for sure. I want to see him play playoffs, but I mean, I try to look at it positively. He's here June 1st.
Yep. A reminder to everyone, his contract ends May 31st. Now there's some speculation that he might be able to buy out the rest of his contract. I mean, at that point, is it really worth it?
Yes,
No, I mean,
yes,
you say
100%.
yes.
If you're being benched for the two
So,
regular season and playoffs, I
mhm.
would get the hell out of my contract right now and head to Montreal.
so, so the reason why I'm saying what this is my train of thought. This is just my opinion. For sure, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But like, if he does buy his way out, great, and we're going to bring him here. Is it going to be fair for this entire fan base to put pressure on this kid to be that quote unquote savior to help this team make the playoffs? Because I think
Oh
we
no,
know
oh
that,
god,
that could happen. I think we both know that could happen.
for sure. I didn't mean it in that sense to come play for
No,
Montreal.
for sure. Yeah.
I just think they should
Okay.
buy him out. There's no point of sitting there. Come to Montreal early
Hmm.
just to assimilate, not to actually play for Montreal.
Right.
Come
Okay. Okay.
train
Okay.
with
Gotcha.
trainers.
Gotcha.
I meant in that way, if it's
Gotcha.
possible.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, personally, I don't think it's gonna happen. I just think his contract ends May 31st. Boom. June 1st, Montreal Canadiens sign Ivan Demidov to an entry-level contract.
Not far away. It's really
It's
we
coming.
are
So
yeah, we're currently March 21st, right? So
no
it's
no
coming.
joke. No joke. I actually took a screen. I put on May 31st on my phone. I wrote on May 31st. I wrote Ivan Demidov Day. I took a screenshot of it and ended up tweeting it as a Curfew Boys post saying, "Mark it all on your calendars, folks." Whatever. Trying to be funny. Blah 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 blah. But dude, I couldn't believe it because I personally was looking forward to, you know, I like, this is, there's these websites that you could stream games. Like, I was so looking forward to see what this kid could do in the playoffs when games matter even more now. But you know what, I gave that coach sometimes the benefit of the doubt to, like, maybe a couple times he's trying to protect him by not playing him top line minutes, benching him as the 13th, fourth, and all that. Now this shit, it's like it's forget it. Like, get him the hell out of there ASAP if they could, man, because this is
It's coming.
it's ridiculous. I feel for the kid. Meanwhile, I think Oliver Kapanen, he's starting his playoffs there, and Kent Hughes confirmed that once Oliver Kapanen's season in the SHL is over, he's going to be making his way to the Laval Rocket, who are actually playing right now as we speak. I have the game next to me on Friday night. Can you believe Laval Rocket? They're the top of the league in the minors.
Yeah,
This is
they're having an
unbelievable.
incredible season. Just to
This
finish
is
off too, Sam,
unbelievable.
on Demidov, his last game
Yep.
is actually tomorrow, Montreal time, the 22nd, their regular season
Yes.
game.
Yes. The
And
last
then they
regular
have
season game.
playoffs,
That's
but
correct. Yes.
they're not predicted to go past the first round given the bad
I
season
hope they
they've
get
had.
swept.
So yeah,
I hope they
same
get
here.
fucking
Get
swept.
swept. Yeah. But
Screw them.
at
Screw
that
them. I hope they
point
get
can
swept.
but at that point, could Demidov have to wait till the 31st or get out earlier because the season's technically done? We don't know. But anyways, we know he'll be here
Yeah.
within the next couple months, so it's just a matter of patience. Yeah, and now sorry, I just want to
Oh
add
my
that.
God.
But onto the Rocket for sure. They're
Yeah, no. Thanks,
first
thanks for
place
that.
their first place, reaping the
Uh,
rewards of some of their talented prospect pool they have. So they're really doing a good job, and certainly they're going to be competitive in the playoffs.
Joe, I'm telling you, David Reinbacher, I think you'll learn to love him. I'm
Good.
telling you, man.
After Demidov, sure, I feel better about him. Definitely.
Dude, I'm telling he's good, man. Like, I'm watching the
Good.
game now. The dude, he sent almost two guys on a breakaway from his own zone. Like,
Well, we
this
need that,
kid
right?
is.
It's beyond the second line center role. Another big hole is to me it will always be how stable we are as defense, maybe more as a core, but having somebody
Mhm.
like Reinbacker and hopefully Gooley, this injury bug that he has, they can
Yeah,
solidify
but he's
because
skating.
defense.
But he's skating.
He's skating. Yes, he is skating, but if they can somehow solidify the defense, because they have one of the worst, I think, records for goals against in the league.
Okay.
Like, not one of the
Okay.
worst, but they're not great, Montreal. If that's where I hope Reinbacker can help, and Mayu
Hmm.
and Gooley staying healthy. I'm strictly speaking from a defensive point of view. Lane Hudson
So
obviously
I got a
helped
question for
offensively,
you.
but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got a question for you. It's going to kind of go back to full circle against the Islanders, and then we're going to wrap it up. If you're Kent Hughes and you see that Noah Dobson is going to test free agency,
Mm,
right-handed guy at he's 20, what's 25, he's 26, I believe.
mm-hmm.
He's almost he's almost Nick Suzuki's age, maybe a year older.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, this is a tough question. I mean, who's gone in the off season now? Who's going to be
Well,
gone from Montreal?
he's an RF. Noah Dobson's an RFA.
It can be
Sorry, I thought
hard
he
on
was a
our
UFA for a
piano.
sec.
No,
Yeah,
it
but
can
he's
be hard.
25 years old. Do you think
I
they
mean,
try
I
to trade
would,
for him?
but they, I don't think he tries it. I don't know. I think he's going to give more of a shot at the younger guys. Let Lane Hudson develop. Let Mayu come in. I, I don't see it. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good.
Do
I
you see it?
listen. I said this before. You know what? At first, I did, but then I think we have more pressing issues at the second line center than we do on the right-handed side.
Yep.
That's
You're
what I
right.
think. If Kirby Doc wasn't hurt and he was really proving that he could be the second line center for this team, then I think use your assets to go get maybe a right-handed defenseman like Dobson, but also too Lou Lamoriello. He's not going to take rebuilding assets. He doesn't want to do a rebuild. No, Lou Lamoriello.
Exactly.
Like he mentioned it before. He's like, there's no freaking way I'm doing that. So
Exactly. Yeah.
um, no, man. I love how even Logan Mayu, how they really focus on his defensive game this season. Even though his point production is less than last season, his defensive game has got a lot better,
But that's
which
the
is
importance
very
for me in Montreal.
absolutely.
I think offensively, Montreal has been one of the better teams from the defensive core producing offensively. To me, it's the other
Hmm.
side of the puck, off the puck, where I always think they needed improvement. And if you improve that with the second line center and Demidov coming in, regardless of the goalie situation, I think you're setting yourself up for playoffs next year. But those are the
Yeah,
three components to me to make Montreal not a one season playoff team, but to consistently make playoffs. Those three things are going to need to be addressed.
that's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait, man. It's coming, man. All those pieces are almost there. We're gonna hear Demidov sign. We're gonna hear Jacob Fowler, who's a Mike Richter finalist in the NCAA. He's gonna sign after this Frozen Four competition. Although he got eliminated, him and his team got eliminated in the Hockey
Yeah.
East playoffs, which is very, very rare. Like they have such a strong team. I don't know how Northeastern beat them. But hey, it happens.
Sam,
But
we
I
just
think
need we just need Anthony to be
to
quiet,
shut up. Just
to
shut the
shut the
fuck
hell up, stop talking. You know,
Yo, Mike,
maybe
yeah,
you shouldn't come on the pod for a bit. Give the Canadian. I'm joking. I'm joking about that. But no,
that's
he has to
hilarious.
stop putting the malok,
Yeah,
the unluckiness, the devil eyes on the
yeah,
Canadians. You just gotta stop.
yeah. And then Michael Hage won the Big Ten Rookie of the Year. So all the pieces are coming to play, man. It's absolutely awesome, and we're gonna wrap this up. But just want to give a big shout out to look, man, the Brendan Gallagher's goal after hearing the story about his mom passing. After her long battle of cancer, like the way he scored that goal to tie it up was just there's so much more meaning to it than like the empty net goal against Ottawa
You
when he
touch,
was
yeah,
pumping his chest. Like everybody was there, it's like, oh, it's for his daughter, and it probably was a bit too. Then we all found out why, and
yep.
it's a lot. There's a lot more meaning to it than that, and it's we definitely want to send our condolences to the Gallagher family, and that he's got an entire city supporting him and standing behind him. So he's a
Even
warrior.
myself,
He's
I'm not
yeah.
I've never been a big Gallagher fan, but he's making me shut up this season, so I'm glad he's having a great season. And no matter if we like him, contract, whatever, uh, condolences to his family. That's certainly outside of hockey. I wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully gets through it. And one of the ways he knows how to get through it is doing what he's exactly doing, is playing the game he loves and doing it the best way he knows how to. I think that sort of will help him just get through it on a mental standpoint. He just gives me that feeling like he's one of those type of guys that, you know, playing the game he loves every day, doing it the way he does, and just how he's been doing it is certainly a good like remedy for what he's going through. But again, my condolences and all the best to him, and I'm pretty thankful he's kind of helping Montreal and having the season he's having. Good for him and good for us.
I can't end it any better than that, Joy. That was a perfect
Well,
ending to this episode.
I gave a
Way to
praise to
go, buddy.
Gallagher. That right there, it's over. The
There's,
episode is done. It's nothing
dude,
more to say. So
dude, this is the brand new Joey that I wish was in Montreal. But listen, if Happy Joey is in Korea, then we're happy for you, buddy.
thank you.
Awesome,
I
Joe.
miss
Well,
people back
let's
home, but everything's
yeah,
been great. So
And we're happy to hear that, man. So thank you all to our audience who tuned in to this episode on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Click that button. It's absolutely free. And share this with the rest of your Montreal Canadiens fans all over the world. It's the best way for us to feel the love and to grow this community called Habs Nation. All other episodes available, audio platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. A big thank you once again to our sponsors, Les Délices Lafrenière and Habs Cave. Follow the Curfew Boys on other social media platforms. We're very active on Instagram and Twitter, also known as X. We got TikTok as well. Come be part of the conversation. We love interacting with you all. Joey, have a nice day. It's daytime for you right now as we're finishing this episode.
Yeah, it's daytime. I'm gonna go to a training class very soon, fitness. So.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
F45.
Okay,
We have them back home, right? F45s. If you've ever heard of
do
it,
we?
it's a studio fitness.
I
It's
don't
a
think so.
studio fitness, high intensity, pretty awesome.
Okay,
So
nice.
I'm gonna go to that soon.
Okay, cool. And just looking at the score here, Pittsburgh is leading the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-2 with under 7 minutes left in the second period. The Laval Rocket is still 0-0 against Cleveland. Joey, thanks a million, buddy, for doing this all the way from Korea. It's always great seeing you and talking to you, bud. Keep it up. Be safe. We'll talk some more in our chat. And to all of our listeners and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Go Habs, go Saturday night against the Colorado Avalanche. The boys got this. They can do this. Play hard, play smart. They're gonna win this. We're gonna get that W. Until then, bye now. Good night.